Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with the instructional video that relates to our course syllabus. So hopefully by now you've had a chance to view the video that walks through how D2L is kind of set up and structured. If you haven't, just pause, go back to that one. And remember that all the videos have information that may appear in the weekly quizzes, so just be prepared for that. So you may want to take notes, but it's not necessary, just something to keep in mind. All right, so I'm going to pull up our syllabus and just walk through some of the details, but when you have some time, really go through and read everything, because I'm just going to touch on those major points, but not every single thing, because me sitting and reading that to you, how boring, right? So at the top is contact information, right? And remember, as always, as I mentioned in the last video, email me via D2L so that it goes directly to me. The office hours for our course will be held Monday through Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. That may change, but of course I'll let you know. And that will happen via the instant messages feature of D2L. So if you are in our class area and you go up to the little envelope icon, you can go to email by clicking here, but you can also choose instant messages. So a pop-up will appear, and if you go to class list, you will see that our class is kind of the default, and you can scroll and find me and then click next to my name. You may have to click to see more than, one page at a time, but you can find me and then instant message me there. In past semesters, I've had face-to-face office hours virtually, right? So I would have a WebEx meeting area, but I found that students did not want to meet face-to-face because it can be intimidating and it can be awkward in a video chat space. That's why we're doing the instant messages, but if you ever want to have that face-to-face time, just email me and we can set that up, and I'll send you a WebEx invite. I love meeting students even if it's in video chat, so definitely take advantage of that, and know that you should not be intimidated to speak to your professors about things that are concerning you in the class, right? It is your right as a student to have that time. All right, so that's where you go for those digital instant message office hours. And then there's information about the course and our course text, which is also on D2L, right? If you go to the content area and click on book information, it's all there. And then if you scroll down, this is also some assistance and information about resources. This is available in the Life Help area of D2L, right? So if you click here, but the syllabus also has it. So if you're in a pinch, you can find all of this information in one place. Definitely be aware that we have that 6-drop rule. You don't want to drop more than 6 classes in the Texas college system, because that can impact your progress, your success, your financial aid, all of that good stuff. As well as, there are all these other, bits of information that are pretty important. The emergency notification information is really key, especially because it seems that we in Houston are always dealing with things like that. So whether it's a hurricane or a winter storm, or if there's a campus that's on lockdown for whatever reason, if you set up your contact information there, you'll receive a text message, which is great because you don't want to come to campus if the campus is locked down, right? So to avoid any of that, or to avoid a dangerous situation or whatever may be occurring, then make sure your information is updated when you log into My Lone Star, okay? Remember, there is that distinction between counseling and advising that I talked about in the D2L video. Advising is all the academic stuff, transfer, degree plans, courses to take, and then counseling is the other end of that. So it's all the things that happen to you as a person and as a student, life stuff that may affect your progress in your classes. So make sure that you know who to contact and where to go, and all that information is located here. Okay, there's also links about our online writing tutors, and then we get into the policies. So in an online environment, respect is going to be really key because we can't pick up one another's kind of visual cues. So you want to make sure that your tone is as respectful as possible when it comes to sending emails to one another or responding to one another in the discussion boards. I can't see you, you can't see me, We can't see one another, so we're not having those kinds of cues that we can pick up on, you know, our facial expression, the tenor of our voice. So just be as respectful as possible, and make sure you take an extra second before clicking send in an email, or when you're posting in the discussion board, just to double check and make sure that your tone doesn't come across as critical or negative or anything like that. So we talked about the visit hours, the email communication, as always, through D2L. I do want you to know that it can take up to 48 hours for me to respond. This is especially true over weekends, but a lot of times it'll be quicker. I'll be quicker on the response, but don't wait until the last minute to send me any questions or concerns, okay? Assignments and late work, the gist of it is I do not accept late work for those kinds of daily assignments. So those are going to be our weekly discussion posts. But know that there is a 24-hour grace period. So if there are technology issues or life issues, family issues, you do have that 24-hour period after something is due to then submit. It means you start at a B grade instead of an A grade, but that is so much better than a 0. Okay, so just make sure you're doing everything you can to get the work submitted. This is a fast-paced summer session course. It's a lot of work and a lot of time on your part. So you don't want to get behind. You want to, make sure that you're keeping those due dates in mind and then moving on to the next thing, okay? So that's the information about assignments and late work. Attendance and participation is just pretty straightforward. You got to do the work, right? So you have to do the work and participate to be successful in the course. And then there's information about plagiarism. So plagiarism is something that I unfortunately deal with every semester. So it's really important that you take some time to kind of review this, visit this link. Know that 9 times out of 10, I know it's unintentional. I know it's somebody just working too quickly to get things done and not citing properly. But in academic writing, you have to be extra careful about using the words or ideas of other people and giving the proper credit for that. The first time an instance occurs, you will receive a 0 grade, and I will say, we have to meet, we have to talk through this. That discussion is not for me to scold you or to be judgmental. It's to make sure that you have a good understanding and grasp of what plagiarism means in an academic environment. I don't want you leaving this course not understanding that. So we're just going to meet to have that conversation. Then you'll have the opportunity to revise and resubmit the work for a partial grade. The second time it happens, especially because we've had that conversation and you've had that opportunity, it does mean a fail in the class. So avoid it at all costs. Make sure you are properly citing your work, especially in a writing course. When we're doing tons and tons of writing, it means that you need to be extra careful when it comes to quoting, not copying and pasting, not using somebody else's ideas, not going to Wikipedia. Be an ethical, student when it comes to your writing. There's information on academic integrity, so take a look at that. And then we get into our assessment chart. So the points are here because we will be working with points. So in your grade book, you're going to see points instead of percentages. So sometimes I have students freak out and they go, I only got a 10 on this discussion post. Well, it's a 10 out of 10 sometimes, or a 10 out of 20, right? So note that you'll see points instead of percentages. Although when you look at the different grades, D2L should actually calculate a percentage for you, but I will be awarding points rather than percentages. Okay, so the bulk of this will be discussion and participation. So our weekly quizzes and discussion posts, that's 400 points or 40%. The paper portfolio is not 35 points, it's 350 points or 35%. That will include reading responses as well as that final submission. And then we have a multimedia project that will close out our semester essentially. And if you scroll down, you'll see kind of the basic explanation of these assignments, but I want you to note that for each of those major assignments, I will have a video and then I will also have a rubric. So you have all the guidelines and expectations presented to you, right? You're not just kind of completing an assignment without any knowledge of what the expectations are. So you may not have those the first week. That seems like way too much to unload on you the very first week, but starting in the second to third week, I'll have the video, about the multimedia project or about the paper portfolio, as well as the rubrics associated with those assignments, okay? if you scroll down, that's where we get to the schedule, and you may be working with a couple of different syllabi now, or of course in your past, and they all look a little bit different. So I want to make sure there's no confusion about the way that our schedule is set up. So this is a chart that you'll see when you go to our course in D2L and the content area. So if you go to the content area and then to week 1, you know, this, I'm going to copy and paste that chart just so that at a glance you can see what is required that week. But I want you to think about the fact that we're working with Thursday and Sunday due dates, right? So on Monday, everything is available and visible. Chances are I'll upload that information before Monday, but Monday is, you know, everything will definitely be there by Monday, all the assignments, the discussion posts, the prompts, everything. And then your first due date will always be a Thursday, and that's usually when the discussion posts will be due. And then Sunday is when your second round of assignments will be due. So, you know, your reading response needs to be uploaded in D2L in the assignments area. You need to respond to 2 colleagues from your discussion post, and the weekly quizzes, right? It's a lot. Sundays are pretty intense when it comes to work that's due, and that's why I want to encourage you to just work ahead. You know, there's nothing that says you can't just in your mind start thinking of, you know, Tuesdays and Fridays as the due date. So by Tuesday, you'll have that discussion post taken care of, and by Friday, you'll have all of those other things taken care of. This is on you. Online courses, for better or for worse, you know, are up to you in terms of, you know, making sure that you're using your time wisely and maybe changing up the way you're thinking about the course and the due dates. Okay, so in this area, you have all the things that are due, and then you have a vision or a view of what's going on next week. So you'll need to read these things for next week, and then boom, on Monday, everything will be available. Everything is detailed in terms of due dates, and then the next week is in view, okay? So that's just kind of a quick look at what to expect in terms of the syllabus, but I want you to utilize the syllabus as a tool, as a resource that you reference. If you have questions about the class, chances are the syllabus is going to give you some answers. So make sure you're looking at that before going to the Q&A area of the discussion board or sending me an email. So I want you to think about that, that document as something that's going to help you along the way. So it should be something that you just download and have visible, or you always have pulled up when you're working on the class, because it gives you a really clear view of overall what we're doing this summer session, the next 5+ weeks. All right, so that is the syllabus discussion. Now it's time to move on to the next video, which is going to be breaking down all the things that you'll be doing in the first week. I'll see you then.